PK52, the Saturday morning meeting. Hey, I want to jump in. We got a little start here on 2021, and it's now time to start talking about producing the most important thing in your sales game. And I've got it right here, sell yourself. Let's look at the general population of salespeople out there. There's so many companies out there telling you that, you can make $500,000 a year selling cars. Well, there's dealerships out there, independent, smaller dealerships out there that don't bring $500,000 to the bottom line. So you can make a lot of money selling cars, but the average person doesn't stay in the car business. And the biggest reason is because they're selling cars. In order to be able to maximize your car career, not only do you need to be good at the point of sale, and I'm talking about if a customer walks into the dealership and says, I would like to look at a car that you have in stock, the car's right there, you do a pretty decent presentation on the car, and you ask them to buy the car. If you have that skill set, then you can have a job in the car business. And to be honest with you, as long as you want to stay in the business and work the hours of the car business, they'll keep you at the dealership and you'll make a decent living. And in different parts of the country, decent living is a different word. But if you want to maximize your yield and you want to make as much money, and it doesn't matter what you're selling, what you're doing, what you're producing, if you outwork the competition, then your work effort will outdo somebody that has a higher skill set. I'd like to think that every athlete that tries to go to the next level, from high school to college, from college to pros, I always think that all of them think that they're the best at their position or best at their skill set. We know that that's not the truth. There are some athletes, a lot of people watch college football this year, and the athletes on the Alabama football team some of them were at a higher level than anybody else on the playing field at that current time. But it doesn't mean that 3 years ago when all these let's take a receiver, all these high school receivers were trying to go to college, that they didn't all think they were going to be the number one receiver in college football, win the Heisman Trophy, and have all the skill set. Some people have a bigger skill set than others. However, there has been people that have gone on and made the Hall of Fame in sports, the Hall of Fame in selling, have gone on to make millions of dollars in a selling career because of their game or their hustle, how much energy they're willing to put in. And I want to make sure that everybody understands what I'm saying. I don't want to mislead anybody. I don't want to overpromise anything that can be done in any career. So I don't mean when you're looking at putting your hours in, I'm not talking about do you work more hours than anybody else or the hours that you have at your dealership effective hours. Do you sit down and look at a week schedule and plot into your day? I'm going to do this, and these are the times that I'm going to put into this, and stay on your time schedule and make sure that you're productive at every hour that you're at the dealership. The most important thing is to make sure that not only are you selling yourself. I've gone to dealerships before, and you can always ask them who the number one salesperson in the dealership is. And I say it's John, and everybody knows John, and the other salespeople admire John. But none of John's income, none of the salary that John made or the commission that John made for the year was equally distributed to the other sales professionals, service professionals, or parts professionals at the dealership. John got to keep every single thing that John earned. If you made 25% of what John made, that's all you made. So I don't know why you would be so excited about what John's making. Start looking at you first. How do you put yourself in that next level? Everybody that you touch, if you sell a commodity, everybody that you touch needs to know who you are and what you do. If you're afraid to talk in public, get a t-shirt. And some of you may think I'm kidding. If you're not willing to introduce yourself, hi, I'm Casey Nix. I sell cars for a living. My brand is Toyota, but I have pre-owned everything. And I'd like to sell every single one of you in this room a car. And you're going to get a lot of, whatever. But you know what you've done? There's nobody in that room that didn't hear what you just said. And then all of a sudden, a week later, we were over at that guy's house, and you said you sold Toyotas, and I got your number from the guy, and I thought, I'd give you a shot. You didn't know that was going to happen, but it never would have happened if you would have made that announcement in the room. So when you get crazy in the car business, and I've known so many people, gang, I've been in this so long. I've had some of the people that are closest to me pay to get their car wrapped with their name and what they did for a living on their car. You can't look at me and tell me that that didn't bring them extra business. That when they pulled into a grocery store or a strip mall or a movie theater, somebody didn't go, "Oh, you sell cars?" I mean, it's pretty obvious. Your photo's on the door of the car, and you're standing there looking exactly like your photo, and you get the classic, "So you sell cars or something?" So you never. How would they? If you were in a white Corolla, and you stepped out of the car and somebody walked by, they wouldn't even make eye contact with you. They wouldn't have started a conversation with you. They wouldn't have said anything. Now, am I telling everybody out there to go get a wrap on your car with your photo on there? No, but I'm not telling you not to do it. And I'm not saying that every party that you go to, or every outing that you go to, that you stand up on a chair and go, "I sell cars for a living." I'm not telling you not to do that. I'm telling you if you did that you would probably end up selling more cars. You would also have people going like, "Well, what's up with that guy? What's up with that girl? Huh?" But the thing about it is self-promotion is the fastest way to become great at anything. And I'm not talking about, you can self-promote and still be humble. You don't have to brag about yourself or tell anybody how great you are. You just tell people what you expect from them. I'll give you just a quick example. I mean, I wouldn't tell you this stuff if I haven't tried it both ways. And I promise you, more people that know that you sell Toyotas for a living, you're going to sell more Toyotas. And if you want to hit me on an instant message or something on my Facebook account and tell me I'm wrong, and be as mean as you want, come on. But I'm just saying, more people that know what you do, the more cars you're going to sell. So I started out selling cars, and my second passion while I was selling cars is in the early stage of my career, I was also a youth pastor at a church. And I would go sell cars all day, and then 2 days a week, on Wednesday and Sunday, I got to spend a bunch of time with kids that were from the age of 13 to 19 years old. And it was, I know I was supposed to be teaching, but to be honest with you, looking in their eyes and seeing the way they process stuff and having conversations, I got so much more out of it than they ever did before. So one Sunday, I went to the pastor of the church and I said, I have an announcement to make to the congregation. Because basically what I was doing is I was babysitting the kids during regular church because the kids didn't want to be in regular church. I was not misled what my job was. But I took it serious, and we taught and we talked and we would focus on the things that were important to them. And it was good for me, I'm just saying. So one Sunday I walked up and I got on the microphone and I go, "I've been noticing in the parking lot of the church that there's a lot of paper license plates, which means you just bought a car. Whether it was new or pre-owned, you just bought a car. And I noticed that I didn't sell you that car. As far as I know in the congregation, I am the only person that sells cars in this community, in our community. There's no other car salespeople that go to our church." And I said, "Listen, you can buy a car anywhere you want. But if you were a plumber and you were in my congregation, if I needed plumbing, I would call you. If you were a lawyer and I needed legal counsel, I would call you. If you're a doctor in the congregation, I'm going to go to you because we're like-minded and because that's what communities do. So if I see another paper tag in the lot, God may forgive you, but I won't." And I walked off. And a lot of people looking at me, right, if you know me, you know that happened. And so what happened the next week? I'll tell you exactly what happened. I'll give you a couple of examples. I got 2 calls during the next week. One lady called me up from the church and said, "I've just gone through a divorce. My credit is horrible. But I really need a car. I just didn't really know what to do." So I invited her in. We came in. We checked her credit history. Her credit was perfect. Her credit was unbelievable. But there was some credit problems in the marriage. When the marriage split up, the credit problems also left. And so we put her in a car immediately, and she was she was afraid to go start this process all over again. And then I had another person call from the church that ended up having some bad credit, and I knew a dealer in town that would be able to take care of them. And I couldn't sell them a car, but I put them in a situation where they got a great car from somewhere else, and they got them approved. So I would have never got those 2 car deals, and it was a little side hustle, but I got paid on the one that was off-site. The dealer knew. But I never would have got those 2 car deals if I hadn't stood up and just said, I expect that the people that I associate with do business with me. Well, now it's so many years later. Now we have Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all these kinds of things. And I know that the game for some people is to get as many people to follow you as possible. I know. I get requests on Facebook all the time, and I'll be honest with you. If you've requested me on Facebook and I didn't accept your request again, but put a picture of a Toyota in your photos or say what you do for a living, because if you don't ride motorcycles or you don't sell cars, to be honest with you, I really don't accept anybody into my Facebook. I've got a lot of Facebook followers, and they're all in the car business or doing something that's like-minded with me. Like, again, a lot of you know that I ride motorcycles. So, probably 8 out of 10 requests for Facebook, I decline. And then I've never requested anybody else on a Facebook. I've never done a request. So I'm trying to do this in the car business. Now, if I went back to a dealership and I was running a store right now, I would immediately tell every single person on Facebook, I don't care where you live. I don't care if you're in California. I don't care if you're in Maine or if you're in Arizona. I don't care. I'm going to tell everybody on Facebook, I'm going to say, attention, I am currently running a Toyota store. I will ship, deliver, hand deliver a car to every one of you. Do not buy a car somewhere else, and I'm going to sell cars that way. So what I want you to do over the next week or so is think about, how do I develop myself so that I become the reason that somebody's looking at the car? Not that the car is brilliant, and I'm kind of one way, and I think Toyota makes the best overall product for the consumer. The resale value is higher. The maintenance is almost unbelievably none. The cars are bulletproof. They very rarely have issues. I mean, everything mechanical can have an issue, but I've stayed with one manufacturer because I really believe in the overall philosophy of Toyota and the product that but it doesn't mean there's not other good cars. I'm just saying. So now that I've made a hard choice, what manufacturer am I going to sell for? And what product do I believe in? Now that I believe in that product at 100%, the only thing I have left is to believe in myself. To close out today, and I know this has kind of been just kind of a little rally talk, but to close out today, we've gone through a period of time where we had less inventory. New car inventory shrunk. Used car inventory was almost impossible to buy because everybody was fighting for those individual units, and that creates bad habits. Because when a customer came in on a vehicle, if you had it, it was sold. The closing ratios over the last year have been pretty incredible because the product has been sought after and we didn't have the supply. As the supply comes back up, you have to change your game. You really need to go out and start studying your product again. And you need to practice your presentations. If you think it makes you look foolish in front of somebody else, take the car out behind the building so nobody can see you. I don't know why you would do that. But if you were a great receiver in football, every practice day of the week, you catch passes. If you were a long snapper and you snap for field goals and for punters, you snap long snaps. If you're a running back, then you practice taking the handoff and moving through the hole. I mean, you did it no matter how great of an athlete you were. And I don't know everybody's philosophy, but I think everybody in the world knows what Michael Jordan did. During his playing careers, they said he was always the first person on the court during practice and always the last to leave. And at that time, there was no greater person on a basketball court than Michael Jordan. But it didn't matter. He outworked everybody. He took his skills and outworked everybody. So there are phases. Think about what it takes from meeting somebody either digitally or traditionally to delivering the car. What are the things that you have to do? People call them road to sale, step to sale. I believe it's pretty fluid, and I think every customer is different. So you should be skilled in every one of those events that has to happen to get the customer to take delivery of the car. and you really need to practice them. Hi, I'm Casey Nix. Today is a 2021 Highlander. Let's talk about this Platinum Edition Highlander. What makes it separate from everything else? Well, it's the drive system. So let's talk about how the drive system is different on this vehicle versus an XLE. And then practice that. You're standing outside by a Highlander. Where do I stand? How do I gesture? How do I look? Am I cutting a video? Do I send the video out? And all of a sudden, the person that was looking at the Highlander now is looking to your skill set to help them make a purchase. The most important thing the dealership ever did was hire you. Push yourself to the next level. Plan your day. Don't waste your time. Be productive. Work less hours. Spend more time with your family and produce more. PK52, the Saturday Morning Meeting.